I really like that area. That is a good place.
Welcome, everyone.
We'll talk to you later.
Welcome, Kiwanis on Zoom. Welcome, Kiwanis in the room, and welcome, guests. I'm Michael Obraka. It's a pleasure for me to be serving as president of the largest and best civic organization in the Roanoke Valley. It would mean to say something about our size. Hard to deny that we're the largest. Now I want to say something about being the best, because those two items are related. We're the largest because we're the best, and we're the best because we're the largest. Think about that. Okay. Now, one of the reasons I come to this club every week to be around people like Coach Joe Gates. He's recently been honored, Coach Joe, with the naming of the Daytech Vocational School Sports Medicine Wing. Congratulations, Joe Gates. I want to mention two other people during my opening remarks. One is Emily Bailey. You have signed a card for her in the past. Emily has been suffering with a still undiagnosed malady. She communicated with me this week. Her spirits are just as high as ever, and the uncertainty about her malady has not gone away. Doctors can't figure it out. Taylor Medley is here today. I'm going to brag on her for a moment. As one of our newest club members, I want you to know what she does during the day. She runs the volunteer program over at Carillion. And last night, she ran a super duper, that's the word, super duper volunteer appreciation dinner. Taylor, well done. Clapping for you. All right, now Bruce Swanson is on his way up to the introspection, and Harry Zuloff is on his way up to do the pledge.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wouldn't it be great if we could control our future? Recently, I was flying back from Minneapolis to Roanoke. First, I made a decision to fly a day early because the weather was expected to be bad. I was feeling good until we had a mechanical delay in Minneapolis. It looked like I was going to miss my connecting flight, which means I'd stay overnight in Chicago, and then I'd fly back the next day in that bad weather. But when I landed in Chicago, there was a text message and an email, and the header said, "We're holding your connecting flight." And then the body of the letter said, "Take a deep breath. We're holding your next flight for a few extra minutes. You'll arrive at gate B12. It'll take you 10 minutes walking. We and your fellow travelers would appreciate it if you would make your way directly to gate B4. And what was so interesting to me is that it lifted this weight of anxiety, and instead I got a moment of relief because someone was communicating with me and taking things out of my control. It just felt like they were taking care of me. So the next time you feel like life is out of control, remember, first, release the expectation that you can control the circumstances of your future. You may need to surrender the need for control. And finally, trust in the flow of life. Trust that everything is unfolding as it should, as you are supported and guided and made safe by others. And please don't forget to buy your tickets to the prayer breakfast.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. So we do have guests today. One of our newest club members is going to introduce them. Jay?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jay Galden, a recent member. As of a couple weeks ago, they asked me to address why I decided to join the club. I lived in Roanoke up until about 1.5 years ago, and I now live at the lake and wanted to join the club so that I could maintain that connection to the Roanoke area and, give back to the community. Today we've got 6 guests, 2 of which will be speakers. The first one is Jeff Fick. He's retired, and his host is Ken Briggs, and he's a prospective member, and he's already signed up to volunteer for KBAD. Next guest is Nyron Nichols. He's a paralegal. He's been here a few times, and his host is Bert Boyd. He's also a prospective member, and Brianna Taylor is along with him. She's also a paralegal, and her host is Bert Boyd, and she is also a prospective member. And lastly, oh, I'm sorry, I should be asking y'all to stand up, and this is my first time, so my apologies. So Tyler Lyon, I guess you get to stand up since I missed the first 3. Tyler Lyon is with the Grandin Theater Foundation and is sponsored by Gene Bollendorf and is not a prospective member. All right, let's welcome our guests today. Thank you.
Well done, Jay. Next on the agenda is going to be a nominating committee report. Jenny Lee is on her way up now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to come up here for the 3rd week in a row in connection with our nominating committee process for new board members and new officers to serve the club next fiscal year beginning October 1. And so we've been through a couple of weeks of the process, and the process will finalize today when our members, you will vote, hopefully in approval of the nominees. And so what I'll do is announce the nominees again and then call for a vote. And for those of you on Zoom, I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Those in favor and those opposed. So on Zoom, use your little hand emoji to vote. So John Montgomery and Mike McAvoy will be watching for the Zoom communications. So let me start with the folks that we've asked to serve on the board of directors. And if they would please come up to the front briefly. I want to apologize because last week I just blanked and failed to mention their names before I got a prompt from Don Webb. And that was me. It had nothing to do with you. We're so excited about this 3 new board members. But if you would please come forward, I have a little token of apology for leaving you out briefly last week. And they are Preston Tyler, Keith Hartman, and Bert Boyd. And I want to give you a little, this was my swag when I was president. It's a heart with the Kiwanis logo in the middle. So I just want to give you one because I'm so sorry about last week.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for offering to serve. Thank you, and I apologize. Okay, so Preston Tyler, Keith Hartman, and Bert Boyd have been nominated to serve on the board next year, as well as the slate of officers, which are, will you please stand if your name's called? Secretary Treasurer John Montgomery, Vice President Dr. David Hartman, President-elect Joyce Montgomery, immediate past President Mike O'Brien, and President Gene Bollendorf. So these are our people that we've identified, and so now it's up to you to seal the deal. So all those in favor with a show of hands, please. Those in favor of those names that were just called. And Mike boys watching Zoom. Okay. And any opposition, please raise your hand in opposition to those names. Okay. Good deal. Well, congratulations to all our new board members and officers. And we look forward to serving the community. Congratulations.
And I'll add my congratulations. looks like yet again, another strong board. Good for our club for doing that. Thank you all for your votes. So, Ben Spiker and Gene Bollendorf and whatever other Star Wars themed characters they have with them today are going to come up, give you the good news about our K-Pad report. Here you go, Ben.
Thank you. This is my excited face. And I am really excited. You guys deserve a great deal of congratulations for this week's effort. Really, really strong performance. So let's go through the program. John, next slide. Kevin Reeder's team, rogue captain this week, is up to $4,094. Top producers, our first boy, is Herb. You got bubbles? Here, have some more.
Right in the hands.
It's all in the hands, bro. It's all in the hands. You gotta catch it out here, pull it in, catch it out here. Frank Longacre, Mike Quinn, Betsy Bohan, and Guy Bird. Thank you all for participating. Hey, the thing that happened this week that was particularly good is you'll notice that if you look at those sheets on your table, the participation levels have gone out. Kevin's team has 16 folks participating. That's selling tickets 16. The average team size is 23. Some teams have one more, some teams have one less, but the average team size is 23. So as the participation expands out, so do our numbers. Next slide, please. John's over here counting money. Nancy Horn's team, Plastic Guardians, $5,048. J.C. Taylor, can you believe J.C. Taylor? He's at $1,000. Turned in $800 this week. Dave Spangler at $700. Ken Briggs at $520. Will Didley, Gary, very cool to see the numbers. Very good. Next slide, please. Joe Gaither's team, Luke 4, is at $4,900. Look at Mike Love. Mike Love needs to be blowing some bubbles too. Eric Danielson, not here today. Is he in surgery? In the medical office. He's in the medical office, so he's not here today. He'll be with us soon. But he turned in $825. I think the Brandon Oaks bus. I'm gonna paint it. Joe Gaither at $569, Bill Bestich and Michael Brock, and even Michael Brock that was able to sell some tickets. This is awesome. Next slide, please. Milton Hardy, his team, the Ewoks, jumped to third place from last place with $5,195. I'm not taking credit for this, but I turned in $2,000. Terry Martin's at $700, John Montgomery $475, and Judy Clark. Not only are you a fantastic musician, but you're a good ticket seller. Next slide, please. Lois James is creeping up. It was Loin James last week. We have been able to correct the spelling. There are probably other mistakes, and I'm sure many of you will point those out later. But Lois is at $1,150. Tom Pendleton, $850. 837. Reed Kessler. Hey Reed, you got bubbles? I'm not gonna throw. I've got good hands. Yeah, I watched him play pickleball. That's how good. Bart Wilner at 500, Bruce Swanson at 500, Bob Rutherford at 400. You guys are awesome.
The number one team, the lead team is pulling away dramatically. At $7,745.50. Rupert Cutler's mailing list is really coming through. Mine's not nearly as strong as Rupert's, obviously. $3,375. David Powers, $705. Dr. Hartman, David Hartman at $700. Jim Randall's at $508.50. I told you last week, Jim Randall's emptied his coin jar. So take that as a hint. If you all have a coin jar, that might be a good way to lighten your load a little bit. Next slide, please. You can see who our top producers are so far this year. The total is $33,670. Which puts us slightly ahead of our record year last year, just ever so slightly ahead. And you can see who the top performers are so far here today. The big performers this week, John, next slide. Me. Vern, JC, Reef, and Rupert. Look at that. Keep it coming, you guys. It's looking great. We've got 2 more weeks. Let's see, we've got next Wednesday. And then we have 2 weeks afterward, possibly 3 weeks afterward. Or 4, depending on what people need to do. Just sell your ticket. The other thing I want to say is and I know you may find this hard to believe, but there are some of you that just write checks and don't sell tickets. If you're one of those that have done that, if you can please bring your tickets back. Turn your tickets back in. We're down to just a handful of bundles of tickets for those that might need it. We do always pass out tickets to some of the organizations like the Rescue Mission and Family Promise, things like that. So we may need them, and I don't want to have to go print any more tickets if we don't have to. But thank you all for what you're doing. It's great. I appreciate your efforts. Keep it coming.
Everyone will be more than halfway to our goal. This is just really awesome. Thank you all very, very much for all of your hard work so far. And please don't forget that if you are finding raffle items for us, that's 25 points per item for your team. We're going to tally those at the end of the competition. So, you know, you may think you're ahead in ticket sales, but if somebody like, I don't know, David Bowers has 5 things that he put into the raffle, that might put his team ahead. So just keep that in mind. And we've also got some great PR opportunities lined up, so be sure to listen for us on WDJ7, Fox, and also WFIR Radio. Thanks, everybody. Keep up the good work. Yeah, stay in the points.
And when it comes to the ticket sales, remember we have those incentives out. Coaches, you've got your date night with a dinner at Billy's and a Broadway show. There might be some other little things in there. If you have sell your $350, which is your minimum, your stack of tickets, which I hope everybody does, you get your name in a raffle for a beautiful necklace. Azar Jewelers donated, which is valued at $250. And we have seen, some of us have seen the first place sellers top prize. Trust me, it's amazing. So get those tickets sold. Ask anybody for donations. Don't be afraid.
You know, these things are great. I've signed up about 5 people, 6 people today. And anyone who hasn't signed up, just get over to me after the meeting. I'll sign you up because we have to flip 10,000 pancakes, give or take. 2,500, maybe 5,000 sausages to cook. And we need help. So money's great, let's not be embarrassed by not being able to produce what our customers buy. Thanks so much, appreciate it. Thank you, club members, selling tickets. So I mentioned in the opening remarks about us being a large club and about us being an active club. And I'm going to start to illustrate that by going through a couple announcements of upcoming activities. Now, everything I say to you in these announcement portions of our meeting, everything I say to you is on the website, and it's also in the newsletter. I want you to pay attention to just how big, informative, and interesting our newsletter has become, thanks to Alex Barge. We're going to applaud him back. This week's newsletter contains a bit of history. There are 17 images in that newsletter of 17 current club members who appeared in the 1986 club directory. There were some fine-looking young men back then. Thank you, Alex. So last week, we had a bunch of committee meetings. That's all I'm going to say about that. I am going to say we were in the Blue Ridge Marathon. Mike McAvoy organized us yet again. We had marshals out on the course, and we had an aid station. Read about that in the newsletter. This week, KPAD operations are going to meet, obviously, and so are a bunch of others. That's all I'm going to say about that. Where do you look for that information? The newsletter on the website. Now, in terms of volunteer activities, after you've flipped pancakes and cooked sausage, then I need you to get engaged in 3 volunteer activities. Meals on Wheels needs a couple more people. Details are in the newsletter. This club is a big supporter of Meals on Wheels. Something like 17 to 20 of us volunteer. We need a couple more. In-house, every week, the drapes behind me and several other items are set up for us to benefit from. That setup team needs at least one more person. Your qualifications for that job are, must be here regularly and must be tall enough to hang that drape. Also every week, for our people on Zoom, we have a crew that sets up the Zoom camera and handles the slides. They need one more person. Same criteria. You must be here almost every week, and I don't really care how tall you are. Saturday, we're going to plant, I don't know how many hundred plants. How many? That many hundred. Thank you. This many hundred plants in the nature garden. It's going to be a good day. Sign up. Just before pancake breakfast, many of you have already signed up for the prayer breakfast. They have more slots to go. Please sign up for that. Tickets are available here today from Bruce Swanson. See him immediately after the meeting. So, and later on, when you're done with pancakes, done with praying at the prayer breakfast, signed up for the Zoom or the setup committee, later on, come out and join us for Kids Fishing Day. Those sign-up sheets are on the table as well. Now, guests, you heard us talk about raising money. Now you know where a lot of that money goes, don't you? It goes into these kind of events. It goes into scholarships. It goes into the other charitable organizations we give grants to. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, I'm switching gears. We have an outreach award. This gentleman is on his way up here now. This gentleman is on his way up here now, please. This gentleman has gone out of his way to support this club by donating 300 radio spots to our club. David Point, come on up. We have donated 300 promotional radio spots for our KPAD He's now earning an outreach award. Okay, now, I don't see your badge today, so we're going to put it on my badge and pin it on you. Just wait. David, as good as you look on radio, you're going to look even better when you wear this outreach pin. And I'm going to put it in your hand, and that's how we're going to do that. Let's face that camera. A round of applause. Thank you. That's what outreach looks like, I'll tell you that. 300 spots. All right, now, there are braggarts in the room. And if you're a braggart and have $2, you're welcome to come up to the microphone, spend 30 seconds, brag about any subject you want, as long as it's not controversial and I find it interesting. Thank you.
Oh, I feel so special David referring to me. I don't know if that means I'm old, or what that means. So everyone, today is Give Roanoke Day. And as you know, I'm often involved with nonprofits in the area, and I'm representing the Grandin Theater today. I have a guest with me, Taylor Lyon, who is the program director for the Grandin Film Lab, and our donations are supporting the Film Lab's programming. There are so many wonderful organizations out there that are participating in Roanoke. I hope all of you can take some time today before 12 midnight to make a donation to a great organization. And I forgot to give my weekly disclaimer. JC, those bubbles are not jelly shots, they're just bubbles. Don't drink.
Good afternoon. My name is David Perry. This is a $5 brag, but for the first time in the history of all the brags I've made up here, this is a college brag, but it is not a brag related to James Madison University, now educating students on both sides of the interstate. That's our new concept. But it is a brag related to my two sons, of whom I'm very proud. My oldest son, fresh off a run as Mercutio in the ballet version of Romeo and Juliet at the Berglund Center. Last weekend, will be attending Radford University this fall. He will study musical theater. And my youngest son finally made up his mind and has chosen Roanoke College, where he will be a Maroon and will run cross country and track and field for Roanoke College. And I hope he will find something to study as well. Thank you very much.
My name is Ken Briggs, and I continue to be amazed by the talent in this room each Wednesday. Last Friday night, my wife and I were in Mill Mountain Theater. They had a wonderful 60th anniversary performance with music from 1964 to 2024. We could identify most of the older ones. But to my amazement, my friend Larry Kufel walks out on the stage and he's singing Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. Larry, you are amazing. Thank you for that.
David, so if your son from college doesn't know what to study, you can study how to film. Because my brag is on Roanoke College Film Studies. I happen to be, for those of you who know my wife, if matter, you know I'm married up. Her cousin is dating a fellow named, or engaged to a fellow named Joe Boucher, who runs the film program at Roanoke College. They had their basically Tarantino Film Festival. I went there intentionally just to, hang out for a little bit, support Joe and the students, and I literally couldn't. It was so impressive. And a couple of these kids, I don't know, they all have talent, but a couple of these kids may really go places. I mean, really, really. So that's my brag. Check this out. Next year, I'm going to be talking about this, and we want to pack the house at the Grandin Theater. There were not nearly enough people there to witness the talent of these kids. So stay tuned for next year, but tell you, it can't be missed. It's awesome. Great job.
Quick brag and a personal story. Quick brag is on Dave Spangler. He
inviting me this morning to come to the Blue Ridge Business Alliance Networking Group. I think it's great when Kiwanis can help each other, promote each other out in the community. So I really appreciate that today. And now a personal story. This is not a plug for my business. It will be about estate planning. Those who work in the estate planning industry know the euphemism of family dynamics. Often a way of saying that there are particular dramas going on in the family. Well, due to family dynamics, I never met my maternal grandfather, Nolan Young, while he was alive. He died sometime when I was 14. I had a general sense that he was a pillar in the community of Idaho Falls, Idaho, and I knew that he was accountable. Much of his estate did not end up getting settled until after that second time in 2021. And it being the pandemic, many of us were not traveling, a few of my cousins have been out west. And it was determined that there should be some personal item passed to each grandchild. And they really were in a pickle about trying to figure out what they could find. And then one day, cleaning out the attic, they found what they thought was the perfect thing. And my cousin came back from out west and presented me with this plaque from the Kiwanis Club of Idaho Falls, Idaho, presented to Nolan G. Young for his outstanding club leadership as president, 1978 to 1979. This plaque is as old as I am.
For that. That is a hard act to follow with Young. Okay, John Montgomery, get out your tally because I have like a bunch of brags I'm just gonna run through and be charged for all of them. One brag is on Cynthia Gray over there, who spent Saturday getting our garden ready for all of our new wildflowers that are gonna be delivered by Scrub. Second brag is on Jackie Bledsoe, who has created a beautiful program for our prayer breakfast. Speaking of that, third brag is on Dr. Lee Learman, who is so inspirational in his leadership in our community for promoting civil discourse and keeping his medical school campus so united around lifting up humanitarianism, bringing together Jewish students, Arab students. His campus is a model of what our higher ed should look like. So I had to brag on him. He is our keynote speaker for the prayer breakfast. This is a do not miss. Get your tickets from Ben and Bruce, as we've been saying. Other brag is on somebody I know quite well, Dr. David Hartman. Thanks to Jenny Lee's nomination committee, the board of directors, and to our club members. He has actually just been promoted from K-PAD lead dishwasher to vice president. Just put it together.
I think that's my favorite part of our meetings, when you all get up here and talk about something that I find interesting. Speaking of interesting now, Mr. Perrin's coming up to introduce our speaker. Last week, we heard about the Appalachian Trail. This week, we're going to hear something about biking.
Yes. Thank you, President Mike. Again, my name is David Perry, and we're wrapping up our April Earth Month series of programs. I'm going to be introducing Coach Chad Grady, and then Chad will introduce his associate, Mr. Tom Carr. But Chad is going to be giving us an overview of youth mountain biking programs with Roanoke Stars Cycling, including their growth plans. He will highlight their Rising Stars program that provides bikes, training, coaching, transportation, and rides for area youth who don't have access to bikes or trails. Chad is an endurance coach and specializes in coaching and training for running and cycling. He coaches the Patrick Henry High School cross-country team, the Roanoke Stars Cycling cross-country race team, and Wolfpack Endurance, coaching co-op dedicated to growing endurance sports in the Roanoke Valley. He is also a civil engineer and worked for 25 years in various roles in the heavy industrial construction. Without further ado, Chad Brady.
Happy to be here, all of you. I am not surprised that the Roanoke Valley has the best Kiwanis club. I am a little surprised that Roanoke Valley has the biggest Kiwanis club. The bigger crowd than I. So I need to talk a little closer to the mic. Can I keep this out? Yeah, sure. Actually, I'll actually do better. Okay. Happy to be here. And one more aspect, the PowerPoint. I think that's the last slide. Okay. 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 We are the Roanoke Valley's youth cycling team. So we're a little bit like Little League baseball for bikes. We're also like Little League baseball. We're also like Little League in that we are a competitor. We have race teams that compete locally, statewide, and nationally. We have about 120 cyclists. When I brought that number, a lot of people are usually pretty surprised that that robust. We've been together in this particular area. We've been together for a couple of years. Continue to grow year after year. We have elementary, middle school, and high school riders, both boys and girls. Most of our squads, girls represent about 30% of our roster. Our bike team is a mountain bike team right now. We'd like to expand some part of our expansion road plans in the Roanoke Valley, including potentially road cycling, gravel cycling, cyclocross, hybrid. But right now we are all about. So, any cyclists in the room? Couple. Jake Aldring, when you're using was actually on our board. So we are a mountain bike team right now. A little bit about our structure. Every one of our cyclists, or one of our Happy cyclists, signs up to be on first and foremost one of our recreation teams. We have about 12 rec teams that ride once a week at Harvest Cove and Bill Mountain. Both rec teams ride on Bill Mountain, Harvest Cove, rec ride nights at Bill Mountain. But those rides are fun learning experiences for beginner, intermediate, and advanced mountain bike cyclists. We group kids into teams based on skill level, gender, based on age, and elementary. Those groups go out riding together once a week. After school, we just have laughs riding together. In addition to our rec team, so that structure, we're our rec team. After that, a kid can sign up for one of our race teams. I lead the coaching for our cross-country race team. Cross-country race, if you're not familiar, is just like it sounds, uphills, downhills, around competitive racing. So think a 5K or a 10K running race we do it on mountain bikes and trails. Our cross-country race seasons are spring and fall. Right now, we're in the middle of our spring race season. We just finished our second race last weekend. Our races are Saturday. There's a statewide sanctioned, national sanctioned race series. Finished our second race Saturday at Stowe Campground in Northwest County. We've got a few more races coming up in that particular race. Races are generally in Central Virginia. Love to have races here in Southwest Virginia. Haven't quite got there yet. The statewide organization hosts races in Central Virginia. A lot of them are on Charlottesville. Kind of into the central location of state races that migrate from Hampton area, Northern Virginia, and Baltimore, Virginia, kind of be the center. Cross-country racing, like I said, it's uphills, downhills. There's a lot of endurance training involved in cross-country races. Part of our cross-country race team, practice is building skills for kids to be able to ride confidently and safely up and down trails, safely not themselves. Skills build off of speed, to allow kids to ride efficiently, race more efficiently. Part of our training, part of our practices involves sort of endurance training, whether it's intervals or typical, just we're working on building endurance. Do a little bit of bragging here. Our teams are actually, our cross-country races are actually pretty good. We generally are in the top 5 in our groups in the state, I would say 25 to 30 teams. We've got, last year, a lot of fantastic trails. Fantastic trail system right on Harvard's Cove. If you're not familiar, the trails out there are world class. They really are. It's 10, 15 years ago, the trails out there in the mountain trails were sort of a very well kept secret. Locals know about it. The word's starting to get out. We can really go out on Saturday to Benson parking lot. There's quite a few cars, quite a few tourists coming in to ride our trails. So but the trails are good amount of culture. So our kids have a lot of background, and we'll spend a lot of time around. Pretty darn good. The teams that generally beat us tend to have high school dedicated teams. So in Central Virginia, most of the Charlotte area schools actually have mountain bike teams that are part of the high school biking across running football. When they go out, they're actually affiliated with the high school. They practice 5 days a week. They practice the entire season. Sometimes multiple seasons. Our kids are usually riding 2 days a week and then racing. So we're doing kind of hold our own with the schools that are able to have the resources to practice ride practice. One of the advantages of our team is our coaching network. We're very proud of our coaching network. So in mountain biking, it's like a lot of sports, it's very coach dependent. But the more beginner rider we deal with, the lower our ratio has to be for coaches. Higher ratio, lower ratio, more coaches we need per rider. So beginner riders end up taking sometimes 1-to-1, one coach to one beginner rider, one coach to 2 riders. When you think about the nature of riding anywhere, riding trail or riders get strung out a little bit, so we need coaches to help support front of the pack, back of the pack. Kid gets flat on a trail, we get this up there, change the tire, kid has a little spill, we help coach dust off, we put banding on or something. So our coach numbers are kind of form the backbone of our program. We have, I looked this morning before I came, we have about 60 coaches on the roster, which I think is pretty phenomenal. Of those, probably 45 are active after this spring season every week, supporting different rides and different teams. So coaching is one of the backbones of what we do. In addition to our competitive cross-country racing, we have a competitive downhill team. So where cross-country does this, downhill does this. Straight downhill. It's super aggressive. I think it's slightly insane, but those kids are those pretty good stuff. But where cross-country race bikes are made for speed, a little bit lighter. Downhill racing bikes are burlier, bigger tires, bigger suspensions. They start to approach suspensions, sort of like a motocross bike. They wear full face shields and full helmets. All kinds of things there. Races, they're often lift access to the top of a mountain. That's lift up and then they race down for time. Those races are generally in the kind of 2 to 3 minute range. They're racing down as fast as they can go, and it's a lot. Our downhill race teams are very competitive and very successful. And our races too, they're in the middle. There's kind of a race this Saturday coming up in Massachusetts. They race in sort of ski areas throughout the Southeast. So the other thing to note about cycling is that when you are cyclists, you know that cycling is inherently expensive sport. not to be too pejorative about it, but it is hard to ride on the trail around here on a $400 bike. I think you need a little bit bigger bike with better componentry to survive the trail, ride that cheaper bike, it'll fall apart. That's spending money anyway. There's mountain bikes started at kind of $1,000 level very quickly, go up from there. So it is inherently expensive. The other thing about cycling as a sport, it's like a lot of endurance sports. I'm also a rider on a lot of 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, so forth. When you go to these different endurance sports, you look around, and not so too much, but people look a lot like it tends not to be a lot of diversity in endurance sports. And same with like our organization would like to do something about that. We have done something, which I can take, with our organization, or do, but entirely due to the work of this Comcar, that's connected our riding car program that started a little over a year ago. I can still tell the story, but Tom is, I got a nice introduction, quick introduction about Tom. Tom is a retired city planner, I think, spent a lot of years as a city planner for North Carolina, moved here, to be closer to his family. He's been here for a long time, got kids and grandkids in the area, his kids and grandkids and son-in-law are all involved in endurance sports, running, seeing his grandson, he's one of the downhill racers that does this. He's 15 years old, like ninth grade, and he's super talented at it, super stuff at it. And Tom Carter.
Thank you, Chad. As Chad said, our cycling teams had a long-term goal to attract more kids to the sport so they can enjoy trails and the mountains and the outdoors and experiences that we have the opportunity to do. But faced with the obstacles of the expense of getting into the sport and transportation, getting to our practices, getting to Carbons Cove is not an easy thing to do every day for most people. So we started a program called the Rising Stars, and it is a partnership between Roanoke Star Cycling, the partnership between Roanoke Star Cycling, the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Virginia, and the youth headquarters of Goodwill, and the Virginia Outdoors Foundation. Roanoke Star provides coaches for the kids, provides bikes for the kids. The Boys and Girls Club provides storage facility and kids who participate, encouragement for those youngsters. Youth headquarters does the same thing. They encourage the kids to participate. And Virginia Outdoors Foundation provided us with a grant 2 years ago so that we can employ radar transportation to pick the kids up from their after-school programs, bring them to the Boys and Girls Club at Morningside Park, where they can be fitted for their bikes and participate in rides from Morningside Park. We practice like the other teams do once a week. We start at 5:30 at the Boys and Girls Club and move out from there. We go all the way from spring to the fall. As long as it's daylight savings time, we're riding once a week. The places we ride are Morningside Park. If you haven't been there, there are wonderful trails there. Downhill trails, woodland trails, wooden features in the woods. We ride on the Greenway. We teach the kids the etiquette, skills to ride safely amongst other people. And we ride on the skills track at Big Thomas Park, built by Blue Ridge off-road cyclists. If you haven't seen that, it's a great facility to introduce a child to riding on a mountain bike. We ride at the pump track. See the black plastic track at Wasena Park, which, by the way, was constructed or actually purchased voluntarily by some of the local cyclists in the area, including my son-in-law, Jeff Glenn, who led that fundraising effort. And we ride at Carbons Cove. In addition to riding, mountain biking is an individual sport, but it's also a social sport. And we want the kids to enjoy themselves and have fun, so they come back and do it again and again. So at the end of the season, we have a picnic. We stop off with Blue Cow ice cream and have ice cream. And hopefully that brings the kids back next year for the same program. The outcomes that we have for our program. This year, this past year, we had 42 participants, 42 youngsters participating. We want them to be able to see and enjoy the fantastic outdoor resources that we have here in Roanoke. You don't know how many kids have seen No Mountain but have never been out, or know about Harvest Cove but have never been to. We even know about the Greenway, but never had a chance to ride. So our goal is to introduce them to those resources, that know what's available to them, and they can enjoy it. We teach them to ride. The two kids in the upper left-hand corner there, when they started, they were 14 years old, they could not ride bikes. They had never ridden bikes, so we taught them to ride. They're out riding the trails. And improve their skills so they can be safe and enjoy what they're doing. That process means that they develop some responsibility for their equipment, for the way they treat other people when they're out riding, and improve their confidence to be able to do things they didn't think they could do, wouldn't be able to do. It improves their fitness. You'd be surprised maybe how unfit a lot of children are these days because they're on their phones rather than outdoors. And we teach them to support each other, to cheer each other on, to encourage each other to continue to try to do things that are difficult and get better and enjoy what they're doing, and to be open to adventure. One of the most fun things we did last year was show kids what wineberries were. We spent half an hour snacking out berries out in the woods, and teaching them which berries they could eat in the woods as well. And the main thing is we want them to have fun. If they want to join our race teams, they can do that. But the main thing we're trying to do is teach them the skills to enjoy something maybe they never thought about doing, think they could do. They have the resources to do having fun out. Thank you. And if you have any questions for Chad or I, I'm sure we'll be happy to try to answer. Yes, ma'am.
The children can't afford bikes.
The question was, for the children that can't afford the bikes, do we have a way to supply them with bikes? The answer is yes. Roanoke Star Cycling has purchased bikes of the type that Chad mentioned. The Boys and Girls Club has a fleet of bikes that they have purchased. So if a child wants to ride, they don't have to, like, we will get them a bike. We also accept donated bikes, and we're trying to come up with a way of giving some of those donated bikes away so the kids can ride during the week instead of once a week after practices. Yes.
I lived in Atlanta and I saw the explosion of mountain biking teams at high schools. Have you seen any, you talked about it, are you seeing any momentum at New Valley or Case Spring or the local schools here for the team?
Yeah, so I mean, the question was, in Atlanta, high school mountain biking floating during a similar explosion. Yeah, there's definitely an for we actually have our first high school program this spring at Norcross. One rider, exceptional rider, rides for Norcross is actually riding. Get a varsity letter from Norcross this spring. So it's the first in the Roanoke Valley, but it's coming. Charles will have it. It's kind of laying the groundwork. It's just a matter of growing from there. But I would like to see schools like Kiwanis and all Roanoke Valley schools start to establish. So I think it's important from athletic directors, progressive athletic directors to embrace the new sports and the risk. Yeah, it's coming in the hands of them.
Well, the key to me is you don't have to be a star athlete to do this. You don't have to be the fastest kid, you don't have to be the tallest kid, you don't have to be the strongest kid, you just have to be willing to keep pedaling.
Yeah, it's like cross country running. You don't have to be a phenomenal cross country runners. Run and have fun. My daughter runs cross country, and her favorite part of it is just hanging out with friends and riding lots of meets and socialize.
Well, a lot of kids, they get stopped out at a certain level, they're just not good enough to keep up. Something that they're not gonna get stopped out.
Right. running and cycling are both lifetime assets.
You mentioned urban school. Who's responsible for maintaining the great trail?
Good question. Who's responsible for maintaining the trail carbon code? We own the trail and maintain the trails. Optimal organizations like our organization donate time to trail maintenance and trail building. There's other organizations that have which Roanoke Cyclist Block does a lot of trail building. Their entire impetus is for raising money and building.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, I was gonna give a shout out to Pathfinders Greenways with non job building new trails, carbon stove. There are some fantastic trails that were built there in the last couple of years by led by Brian Dagger. Yeah, for the trail building for Pathfinders Greenways.
Quick question, not totally related to all of what you're doing, but what has happened to the women's Olympic team practicing in Roanoke? Were they supposed to use Roanoke as a practice site or something?
Team 24.
Team 2024, yes, they are, and they are continuing to do that.
They are, right?
Where is your money coming from?
Money comes from a variety of sources. Our membership dues, which are waived for the kids in the private scholarship program, from grants, from donations, the Virginia Outdoors Foundation provided funds for our transportation program, maybe from organizations like the Kiwanis Club. We can certainly have you talk to you about some of our needs current and future. This is a great way to support kids to get outdoors, have fun. If they're not football players, or they're not on the soccer team, or they're not able to play basketball, it's a diverse and equitable sport. You want to get out there, it doesn't make any difference how fast you are. You can enjoy what you do, you learn how to play basketball.
That's a great question. Maybe one of us there are really all of our 120 rags like 150 less year, which is super cheap when compared to like travel side, travel costs. It's expensive too. You post to travel for a few days.
Last year, you may have heard last August that at the Boys and Girls Club there was a break and bikes were stolen. And when that Dan Casey wrote an article, and that article in the paper, we got a phenomenal outpouring of donation, both from individuals and from fundraising effort from one of our local radio stations. We now have more bikes than we started with. Community really support this.
Thanks so much, both of you, giving us insight to one of the features of our valley that we brag about routinely. Thank you for helping create and sustain that feature. I have a token of appreciation for your speaker honorarium, which is going to Roanoke Star Cycling Rising Star Program. Please stand up and I'll give the kid a picture. Dave Strider, thank you very much for inviting them to speak. Now, next week, Lois James will be up here introducing Scotty Hartman from Good Sam Hospice. If there's no further business,